I think he's got higher. Next several days, I see someone in town.
I know. 30 degrees difference. Yeah.
Getting his baby. They're all
Are you? Okay, good. Yeah, I know him.
If we have any that we have clear, I should be the cybersecurity
All got to take our seats. We'll get going. Everybody ready? I call this meeting order. This is our first meeting of the new year. Our January board meeting of directors, the KIPDA. And we'll start off with Jared for the roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kevin Beatty. Peter Kevin, thank you for joining us. Honorable Scott Bates.
Travis Buchanan filling in.
Thank you, Travis. Honorable John Black.
Here.
Honorable Bernard Bowling.
Present.
Honorable Byron Chapman. Honorable Jack Kaufman.
Here.
Honorable Troy Ethington. Honorable Jeff Gahan. The Honorable Nicole George for the Honorable Craig Greenberg.
Present.
Mr. Keith Griffey.
Here.
Mr. Abdiel Data for the Honorable Treva Hodges.
Here.
Honorable Dan Heisen. Miss Chandra Gibson for the Honorable Maria Johnson. Mr. William McCoy. I see you on the screen. Honorable Mike Moore. Honorable John Ogburn. Here. Mr. Matt Munay for the Honorable Carol Pike.
Here.
Honorable Jason Sharp.
Here.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is his first meeting, so I want to welcome him to KIPDA. Honorable Jerry Summers.
Here.
Honorable Rick Tanini. Honorable Jim Travis.
Here.
Honorable Scott Travis.
Here.
Honorable Joe Ender for the Honorable David Vogel. See on the screen. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Jerry. Want to welcome everybody to our first meeting of the new year, 2025. Seems like it's been a long time since we've been together, and welcome the new people who are joining us. And so look for an exciting year. And definitely have its challenges and changes. So I appreciate everyone who commits their time to come to the KIPDA meetings and the work you do all week and all month long. And look for an exciting new year for KIPDA. And although I am from Indiana, I'm the commissioner in Clark County. We all work together in our metro area here, and we hope to continue to do that and get a lot accomplished this year. So thank you all very much.
One thing I do want to recognize, Mr. Christian Street, who joined us at the roll call. Thank you for joining us, Christian.
First item on our agenda then is item number 4 is the November board meeting minutes. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at them. Might not even remember when that happened, but so been a while back. It was a whole year ago, so to speak. So entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
We have a second. We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. The minutes are accepted. Next up is our November financial statements. Ms. Shaw.
Thank you. So as of November 30th, we're about 42% through fiscal year 25. And I'm going to go over the summary of elements, which is on page 33. Okay, so as for CED, our total spend is $373,245 for 41.72%. Our transportation, we spent $1,420,064 for 25.21%. Our social services total, our spend is $2,242,441. And then we also have our aging program related, which is $8,742,992 for a total of $10,985,433 at 40.45%. So our other operating is $9,235,000 for 11.66%. So this is our overall KIPDA total of $2,957,685 in expenditures through November 30th of 2024. We have our agency line item revenue and expenditures report. And that is on the next page, which is page 34. Okay. On 34, our current revenue was $3,024,944. And our year-to-date revenue is $13,006,105. The revenue percentage is 38.54%. The year-to-date expenditures, our current expenditures, are $3,008,694. Our year-to-date is $12,957,685. And the spend percentage is 38.40%. Our balance sheet, we start on page 40. And our cash is $2,471,027 for 12%. Our total receivables are $3,083,000 116 or 16%. And our other assets are 4,355,494 for 22%. And our total liabilities and projects are 9,897,277 at the 50%. That's all I have for
That's
November.
our November
Yes,
financials.
that's just November.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions? As always, this is our statement and it requires action. I'm entertaining a motion to approve the November financial statement. I have a motion. Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Next up is our December financial statements.
So we have a graph for our December financials. And I'm gonna go through it the same way, but we're at 50% through the year as of December 31st, 2024. And we also have the financials on page 43. So our spend for December is 462,728. And it shows our budget on our graph at 894,701 at 51.72%. On transportation, we have our spend at 1,697,641. And it shows our budget at 5,633,040 at 30.14%. And on our social services, again, we took our social service totals and our agency program related, and that totaled the 13,275,299, with our budget being 27,135,909, or 48.92%. And then we have our other operating at 11,164 for 14.10%. And our overall KIPDA total expenses are 15,650,731 through December 31st of 2024. So go over to our next page, which is page 44. And we have our agency-wide line item revenue and expenditures. And our current revenue starts on page 46, which is 759.21 cents. And also you see it on our chart is what our current, and then our year-to-date is the 15,708,865 or 46.55% of our revenue. Then our expenditures are on page 49, and our current is 2,693,046. Our year-to-date is 15,650,731 at 46.38%. Page 50, go over to our balance sheet, and our cash, 2,256,756 at 11%. And then our total receivables are 3,418,890, 17%. And then our other assets are 4,374,321 at 22%. Total liabilities and projects, 10,038,785 at 50%. And that concludes the December 31st, 2024.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. So that's our December financial statements. Are there any questions? Entertain a motion then to accept the December financial statements. Do I have a motion? Motion, can I have a second? Second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Next, you have our agency audit report.
Yes. So I just wanted to let everybody know that we did finalize and our audit was approved by the Auditors of Public Accounts as of December 20th of 24. We were able to distribute to all of our funders, the audit by December 31st of 2024. And I also wanted to let everybody know that we do have a couple of hard copies. If you want a hard copy, you can see me before you leave in the front. And we also have an electronic version if you would like that. So let me know.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Shaw. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is item number 8. And this is a presentation from the World Affairs Council of Kentucky and Southern Indiana. And we have a presenter. Is it Ms. Yo-Chin?
Xiaoyan Zhao.
Yo-Chin Zhao. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Look forward to hearing your report.
Thank you so much. All right, let me see if I can get the presentation up. All right. Well, thank you all very much for having me today, and I'm just see if this works. Okay. So, thank you again for inviting me today to tell you a little bit more about the World Affairs Council of Kentucky and Southern Indiana. My name is Xiaoyan Zhao. I'm the president of the World Affairs Council, and I'm also joined by our board chair, who is unfortunately not here, but is joining us via Zoom. I just wanted to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit more, and I know that you have a extremely busy day agenda, so I'll keep it within that 10 minutes I've been allotted. So we'll get started. I have here in my hand a globe, and they are also around the table, but all of those who are not at the table, you're missing out. So feel free to take one. These are for you. And I bring this because, you know, this globe fits in our hand. And often we don't realize the world is actually not that big. We realize this every day when we do our work through exchanges, convening programs, talking about global challenges. The world is a small place, and our mission at the World Affairs Council is to really kind of create that spark, to inspire curiosity about global issues, and also create real connections that count, whether it's through our 4 pillars of programs, the Sister Cities program that we administer and manage, international exchange, which we facilitate on behalf of the federal government, public programs, convening speaker programs, discussions, and education, basically supporting some of our students and gaining more global competency skills. We are a member of 3 large national networks that support global engagement and global awareness: the World Affairs Councils of America, Global Ties US, and Sister Cities International. So all of this work is really, at the end of the day, it's going to support the US efforts in building alliances across the world by exchange, and also help to kind of boost the economic prosperity and development in our local communities. So how do we do that? Just briefly, I want to give you a kind of a snapshot of our impact. Much of this data here is very much about our international exchange. Now, this tells you last year, we received about $8,000 in federal grants facilitating our international exchange programs. But what the bigger story is converting that into about $1.3 million in value that is in economic projects impact. And how are these counted? They're counted by the activities we facilitate when we receive close to 200 international guests in the state of Kentucky and Southern Indiana. When they are here, we facilitate professional meetings with their counterparts, create those connections that might lead to further collaboration on business or personal basis. We also facilitate, as you can see, about 255 cross-cultural activities. Basically, we take them all around Kentucky, show them the best things that the state has to offer. Let them know that we are more than Kentucky Fried Chicken, which they all know, but they don't know all the other stuff. So we like to take them to all the places that we are proud of, but also there's a lot of places that they don't know about. So that's one of the great things that we do and we would like to connect on. And then finally, this doesn't even count the amount of money we spend when they're here going into staying in hotels, which amounts to about $2.2 million, right? And the money they spend on food and drink and lots of shopping. So that is something that we are very proud of, and we're one of the only organizations in the region that really facilitate this level of exchange. With our other programs, whether it's sister cities or public programming, convening speaker programs, convening basically our communities together to really talk about international issues, giving them a forum to discuss, whether it's small group discussions or having an opportunity to hear from experts across all kinds of issues, or bringing in exclusive briefings with diplomats from embassies, from consul generals, consulates, and all of that. So these are some of the things that we do through our programming and the impact we can make. So why am I here and what are we here for? What do we bring to the table that might be relevant for you, right? We are a regional organization. We are located in Louisville, downtown Louisville, but we program throughout the state and Southern Indiana. And so we're looking to go to more communities. We want to expand these opportunities to communities that might be interested in this, because it's much bigger than just those places that we are in right now. With tourism, like I said earlier, there's so much to see, so much to showcase. We want to know what they are in your communities. So we want that opportunity to know more and to be able to have that chance to bring them into your cities and find ways to collaborate. Economic development, when you connect with international leaders across different sectors, whether it's in cybersecurity, whether it's technology startups, and youth community development, these all lead to greater interaction with our community, our local and the global, across the world. And then the global education piece, we host a kind of a regional academic workplace. It provides a kind of opportunity for students to be much more globally aware, to learn about international issues, right? And to kind of increase their global competency, because we all know that we live in a global world, whether we like it or not, and that students need to be prepared for that world. So those are some of the things that we can bring to the table and to your communities. If you can invite us to you and have more of an in-depth conversation. And lastly, I just want to emphasize that we are a nonpartisan organization. We receive federal funding. We welcome diverse perspectives and really encourage open and respectful dialogue on all kinds of issues, because we understand that more perspectives, deeper understanding about topics are going to be essential really to solving some of the international global challenges that we all face. And it helps to lead to more informed decision-making. So why does it matter? We've done research around this kind of international engagement programming. They increase global knowledge and cultural competency. It humanizes the whole idea of global affairs, right? Inspires curiosity about the world with people who get involved in these, whether it's exchanges or discussions, encourages also local and civic and community engagement. It gives them the skills and experience to better serve and contribute to your community. These programs also impact local economies. As I mentioned earlier, they come into the community, they spend money there. they create relationships. And many of them often say, I wish I lived here, or I want to come to the States. So it puts your community on the global map. Like I said, they're gonna know us more than just KFC and Berlin, all that stuff, right? They may not know about Louisville, may not know about Kentucky, but when they come to their communities, they're gonna know about, you know, whether it's Shelbyville or it's Bardstown. All of these places are not necessarily on that global map. And we all know that, you know, making more international connections across cities, international cities, is just something that's going to help facilitate lasting economic and personal relationships that can create more development opportunities. So what am I asking you today here with all of you? We just want an opportunity to connect with you, thinking about the things that we offer, which is very much of a brief, detailed, brief snapshot. Can we come to you? Do you have resources? Do you have things in your cities that you really want to highlight, you want to showcase, you want to connect, you have organizations, resources that would like more international engagement? Let us know about that. We want to be able to highlight that with our international exchange. And also, if there's interest with schools, learning more about global education opportunities, what are they? So the cultural, educational, economic, and all the hospitality resources in your regions that you like us to kind of learn about, let us know. So I would like to invite you to invite us to you to talk about a little bit more of a tailored meet and greet of sorts, so that we can tell you more about some of the things we do in Greater Duck and really explore ways to partner with you and find out how we can support you. So with that, I just want to thank you again for the opportunity. We have a van that transports our visitors throughout Kentucky when they come here, whether it's to the Bourbon Trails or to wherever. So next time, if you happen to see a van like this, you'll know a little bit more about the World Affairs Council. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Lets us know what's going on around the world and how we're part of it. So I appreciate that very much. So thank you very much. We will then proceed on with the rest of our agenda. And the first item is agenda number 9, Rural Kentucky Cyber Project, Sam Jenkins.
All right, good afternoon. Sam Jenkins. I'm with the Kentucky Intelligence Fusion Center, the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security. Here to speak to you guys about, we are starting up a new cyber team, it's been created, and our goal is to help the rural communities in Kentucky achieve a cybersecurity posture. So we're gonna go over a quick overview about this. We're gonna start with the cyber team, our plan moving forward and how we can help. I'll try to get out of your y'all's hair real quick, so I'm not eating up too much time. So yeah, starting out with the cyber team, again, recently created. We're gonna have a multi-layered approach, make us more well-rounded, including trainings, tabletop exercises, and the biggest part that we're trying to add on today is remote management. Currently, what is being passed around is a paper just kind of detailing it more with a QR code at the bottom. Just trying to gauge interest for anyone that it's going to be no cost to the person who signs up, the customer. So that way they can know that their cybersecurity is up to date, as we are seeing an ever-changing threat landscape, new threats every day, and vulnerabilities being exposed daily, weekly, especially against smaller communities that don't have the funding to go to more defense layers that they would need. With that, since we are a part of the Fusion Center, we work with all partners, federal, state, local. So we have constant flow of communications, anything from DHS, cyber through FBI. So that's how we can kind of help. We're trying to make sure everybody's up to date with it. This is remote management. However, we do have the capability of going in person to do site surveys and site visits, make sure everything is up to date and running, make sure people can actually see us and get to know us. There is a personal relationship. Again, it's little to no cost for the customer. Emphasis on no cost. We're at the beginning. We're trying to get this off the ground and offer it up to all the small communities, make sure it's not a burden, but we're actually out helping everybody. So with the changes in the threat landscape, especially on the cyber side, most of the targets we're seeing are smaller communities that just can't afford to up their defense and end up getting hit by these bigger, either state actors or people that have a lot more money, and are able to attack multiple people at the same time. But yeah, here's all of our contacts for the cyber team. Our team lead is Philip Ross. If you have any contact with the cyber team and with the Fusion Center in the past, it's probably who you were talking to. I am Sam Jenkins. I'm at the bottom. Yeah, quick presentation, trying to get all out of y'all's hair real quick, but any questions I can answer real quick.
In a small community, I have 20,000 people in Taylorsville there, and we have small, I mean, I can name off in the last, since I've been judged, just small things. And, you know, they'll call wanting money to get somebody's kid out of jail. And then, I mean, is our best, I mean, our first line of defense, we contact our sheriff's office, then they contact you all.
With that, we would get the same alert that you guys would get, so we would be on that front line first notification as well.
And I mean, is any crime, none's too big, none's too small, or?
No, sir. No, the goal is to reach out to these communities that don't have the size and infrastructure that something like a Louisville or Lexington would have, where they already have their cyber teams built up, so we're just trying to help reach out to those, so that way everyone has someone they can reach to immediately, even off the cybersecurity side of the Fusion Center in general. Reach out for anything, we'll help in any way we can.
You know, just yesterday, I got a text on my official judge's phone that I carry differently, that $1,400 from the IRS, wanting you to click on this thing.
Yeah, we've been seeing that one a lot, people pretending to be, especially during tax season, it's a popular attack, just trying to get people to click on a link and it offers some sort of backdoor.
But do you want to know about even those that small?
We would love to. We've put out papers and stuff trying to gain awareness or help share awareness of these kind of threats like that. Anything from text messages saying, hey, UPS couldn't deliver this package, click this link to reschedule it, to, hey, we're the IRS, we're gonna come kick down your door for 25 Bitcoin or whatever they're trying to do. But we want to know anything from that size to the healthcare system's been attacked, because all of it's building that threat landscape. And if we can know what's happening, we can then begin becoming predictive in our analysis.
If we call you and give you that information, where do you take it from there?
It depends, but again, because we have the federal partners, we do usually go with the FBI and their IC3, their cyber team. We do have active agents sitting in the Fusion Center with us that are both Department of Homeland Security, CBP, and FBI. We'll run with them, get it all the way up, so you'll have federal eyes and state eyes on it as soon as we get the alert.
Do you all do, or have someone who would do presentations from the public, like at a senior center or a library on what
Absolutely.
common themes are? Okay.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. I'm Jessica, health and director, so.
Hi, I'm Sam. Yes, we would. Yeah, I don't know, I think the Fusion Center, yeah, I think the Fusion Center email's on there. You send that to that. She's on the one who usually heads up that email box. She's on the team. So if you just say you spoke with Sam, you can forward it to me and I'll set up and drive out there. Absolutely. Sorry.
I reach out to you and say, I want a student. What's the likelihood of getting that student? What's the time frame of getting that student? And what exactly would that student be doing?
So in regards to our internship program, so we're still setting that one up. Our goal is that the students would be doing the day-to-day things. So if you call and ask, we have them available, it'll be as soon as we can. A lot of this is still getting off the ground. We're trying to gauge interest in that remote management, which would be the primary mission of the student internship. But yeah, it would be as soon as possible. And then an agent or the analyst, probably me, would be running looking over the student system. So if it's something that a student couldn't handle, you would then immediately have an analyst on it as well.
But what exactly would he be doing?
It'd just be managing the remote desktop, make sure you're up to date on your system softwares, make sure that they're actually gonna work in their antivirus and their or your security systems, make sure that it's all up to date and running as it should. Other than that, it'd be making sure that if you have any random questions about text messages like that, they can get it and ask all the base questions and start pushing it up, so the process is a lot quicker rather than trying to get a hold of an analyst when there's 7 of us trying to run 24/7 ops.
Would these students be coming from our communities or be coming from your office?
It'd be all over the state. We're trying to work with universities throughout the entire Commonwealth. Trying to make sure that everybody's represented, make it to where anyone can be reached real quick, no matter what side of the state they're on.
Any other questions? If none, we sure thank you, Mr. Jenkins, for the cares. Thank you very much. Up on our agenda is item number 10, Transportation Policy Committee, Mr. Rush.
Thank you very much. The KIPDA Transportation Policy Committee met in this room just a little bit ago at 12:30 this afternoon. We have a real full agenda with a lot of informational topics from, I guess exclusively from KIPDA staff today. So I'll cover a few of those. A few of them I'm covering on the next few agenda items, so I might skip over those pretty quickly. One of those that we'll skip over is the new 2025 TPC officers were voted on and confirmed. We'll be talking about that in a moment here. Another agenda item was the in southern Indiana, we have to manage our NPO dedicated funds a little differently. And this year, there's a project in New Albany that didn't quite reach their construction letting on time. That puts in Indiana, that puts us in a bad spot because we must spend all of our funds every year. We can't carry them over the next year. And so a couple months ago, we came up with effectively a backup plan because we saw this one coming and that kind of was confirmed. And so our Indiana communities got together last Monday. And today the TPC voted on the changes there. There's a couple silver linings in that. The funding is a little bit of funding is gonna go to TARC. Hopefully with the planning of the development of what they're hoping to do is what's called a downtown transit center. I don't know if you know, been in big cities where they've got effectively about a half city block or full city block. They envision one of those for downtown Louisville as maybe part of the future of TARC. Finding some planning funds for them was part of it. Finding some planning funds for a Clark County project and a couple others was kind of the backup plan that was put into effect today. So that was good. That's the best of bad situation. Our call for projects, some of you all have been a part of that, so thank you for that. The KIPDA dedicated funds on both sides of the river. We made, I think it was close to about, I think it was around $50 million available region-wide. And so we wrapped that process. We wrapped it up last week as well. And so we'll be making further announcements next month. We'll talk a little bit about that today. Safe Streets and Roads for All. I'll hold that thought for another one. Reconnecting Community Pilot Program. That's also on today's agenda, so I'll hold off on that one. One of the things I did talk about was I talked to you all about is the Federal Railroad Administration Corridor Identification Grant that KIPDA received. Just yesterday, I submitted what's called step 1 of that one. Remember, that's the grant. It's gonna look at the viability of passenger rail returning from Louisville to Indianapolis is what KIPDA's grant is looking at. NDOT is working on the Indianapolis to Chicago. So it's Louisville to Chicago is what's envisioned, bringing passenger rail back, or at least assessing the viability of that. So we're through, we're 90-something% way through step 1. We think we're 100%. So I submitted all that information just yesterday, so that's good. We'll move on to step 2, which is the kind of business end of the planning. Where are these stations going to be? How many trains do you need? What's the schedule going to look like? What would a ticket cost? I mentioned to the TPC, we've got commitments from the local short line railroad, Louisville, Indiana Railroad Company, but also from Amtrak. Amtrak isn't necessarily going to be the provider of the service, but they're about the only one that does that sort of thing these days. There are a couple others, but Amtrak seems likely. For our planning efforts, Amtrak is going to do some of the operational analysis. So that's cool to get their commitment for our upcoming, it's called step 2. That's going to probably start, we're hopeful, sometime this summer. Step one didn't require a local match, step two does. And so we are, looking to secure that local match, and I think we'll be in good shape, hopefully by this summer. And last but not least, on this agenda item, I want to recognize, Byron Chapman of, Mayor of Middletown, who's our outgoing TPC chairman this year. And then also Keith Griffey of Bull County, he's our outgoing vice chair. So I appreciate those guys' service to the TPC and to give the more general. So thank you guys. That concludes the report.
Okay. All right. Well, this requires approval, so I entertain a motion to approve the Transportation Policy Committee's report. I need a motion.
So moved.
Do you have a second? Second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Andy. You want to move right on then to item number 11?
And before you get started on the next item, I think everybody in this room knows about the talent we have across this agency, and a lot of that is shown with leading state associations. And two of those recently are from the Transportation Division. So Andy, if you would like to speak on that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, Greg Burris, who some of you all know, Greg helps coordinate the TPC meetings and the TTCC meetings. He's our KIPDA's community outreach coordinator. You may have seen him on the news a couple times this week, representing KIPDA. Greg is now the incoming president of what's known as the Kentucky Association of Government Communicators. So Greg and some of the folks, so that group has a lot of public sector, public outreach, public information officers. So Greg's leading the charge there for that group for this year. And then yours truly is now the new chairman of the Kentucky MPO Council. So my counterparts around the other MPOs in Kentucky, I'm the chairman of that group, which helps coordinate certain activities and tries to make sure that we're getting the best out of KYTC in terms of planning in the urban areas across Kentucky. And so, yeah, so happy to do that. Hopefully it can bring a good voice, a meaningful, good voice about what the needs are in big city Kentucky, and make sure that never ending battle that our region gets its fair share. That's it might be the end of me, but I'll keep trying. And I think a lot of you all would join me in that fight on that front. Well, thank you. On to agenda item number 11.
Yes.
Yes, so at today's meeting, we talked about our officers for this upcoming year. The TPC bylaws say that the KIPDA board must approve the TPC officers. The KIPDA TPC bylaws also state that the TPC chairman, should he or she accept the role, should be the highest ranking officer of the KIPDA board of directors. Okay. And so that's in the urban area. And so this year, that person is none other than Commissioner Jack Kaufman from Clark County. And so Commissioner Kaufman has volunteered to serve as not only the chair of your committee, but also the chair of the TPC this year. So he'll wear two hats this year. So we appreciate you doing both of those for KIPDA.
All right.
At today's meeting, we needed to have a vice chair person nominated and voted upon. And Deputy Mayor Nicole George, Louisville Metro Government, was that person. And so she's accepted that, and TPC has voted for her to be our our vice chair this year in our 2025 Transportation Policy Committee. So those officers are in need of approval by this body today.
Okay. So that is an item we have to take on item number 11. So I need a motion to approve the appointment of those two officers to the TPC committee. Need a motion? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you all very much. Next, that moves us on to item number 12.
Yes, sir. Item number 12 is an update on the Safe Streets and Roads for All. That's the federal discretionary grant that KIPDA received a year and a half ago now even. We're well underway on that. I'll try to give a brief update and some upcoming things to make sure you have on your calendar. So that study is moving right along. Real important to note is we're transitioning from let's say the data collection phase, which we're pretty much through now, to the solutions phase. Where are we know where issues are with the what I've said before is the most thorough crash analysis that this region's ever seen. Now, what are the solutions at those locations? That's the next step we're going into. So our consultants have the draft plans. I think what we were told just the other day, they've got them already in Kentucky. Those will be in your all's hands very, very soon. In Indiana, crash data are always a little trickier, and so the Indiana ones are maybe a week behind that. And so nonetheless, those will be in the Indiana folks' hands very, very soon as well. So we're moving right along that, moving into an exciting phase on that. A couple other things to note. Monday, February 3rd, there's the big group steering committee meeting. So that's everybody's invited from all counties, all jurisdictions, all cities, municipalities, et cetera, to join us for a steering committee. On that, we'll talk about where we are collectively in depth. And then later that week, February 4th at KIPDA, February 6th at KIPDA, and February 7th at City of Jeffersonville offices, we'll have our next round of the one-on-one meetings. Many of you all were there last time around several months ago, where we got in depth about your community, your issues. And so this one should be pretty in depth about what solutions would you like to see at some of these locations on what's going to be called your high injury network, the roads that have an abundance of fatal and serious injury crashes. The high injury network is what's been developed. And then there'll also be a series of, let's say, list high injury intersections, et cetera. That can be your playbook and KIPDA's playbook for that matter, to build better safety projects going forward. So remember, 4th, 6th, and 7th. Understand that there's a county judges conference that week, and so that's going to be an issue for some of our rural county judges, and maybe the county judges in the urban area as well. It sounds like February 11th could be a spillover date if you can't make it on the 4th or 6th at KIPDA, 7th over at Jeffersonville. I think there's been at least one judge. I think Shelby County was scheduled just this morning, if I'm not mistaken, for February 11th. I think we'll do it that day if you can. If you can't do it any of those days, don't worry. We can probably schedule a one-off meeting with our group. So put that on your radar. One other thing I need to mention: resolutions on that. Part of that program. Each jurisdiction was expected to produce a resolution through fiscal court, city council, et cetera. We have a lot of them. We don't have all of them. So if you have not submitted your resolution to KIPDA, please do so in the next, hopefully next month or so. If that's problematic, don't fret, because we will create a regional resolution that should cover you nonetheless. So you should be just as eligible for those future federal dollars. With that regional resolution. And on the federal dollars front, maybe put this date down. We think March 31st, that we believe is when the window will open for applications for what are called the implementation grants, right? We got the planning grant. We're getting through this planning grant. March 31st is likely when that window will open up to apply for with the implementation money, the capital money to actually let's find some dollars to fix these things. So so everybody's plan should be in real good shape by then. We should be wrapping up around then, frankly. But you said the draft plans will definitely be in your hands, and we'll be able to fix some good projects to perhaps apply for some federal dollars for it. That's all I have on that one. I'll be happy to answer any questions, but that's for your all's information here today.
Any questions?
Here, Andy.
February 3rd is here, and I think it's online too. It can be a remote. Yeah, February 4th, 6th, and 4th and 6th are here. 7th is in Jeffersonville. We do, by the way, have at least one Kentucky jurisdiction meeting us in Jeffersonville, and likewise, we have one Indiana jurisdiction coming over to KIPDA. So there's no borders here.
All right. Any other questions? If none, we'll move on to item number 13, and that is the reconnecting Central Portland to the riverfront.
Yes, so I've talked a lot, so I'm thankfully I have good friends here. And so I'll let Felicia do the heavy lifting here, but KIPDA was awarded a big grant just was it last Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So
So in our September board meeting, the board approved KIPDA being the actual applicant in partnership with KYTC for the Reconnecting Communities Pilot Grant. This is U.S. Department of Transportation grant. We submitted that application, and this was for reconnecting Central Portland to the riverfront, which is addressing the 64 corridor going through Portland, separating that community from the actual riverfront. submitted the application and we were awarded. The total project cost was 29 million, and the grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation was $14.8 million. The grant program, which is state funding for the matching, is $14.8 million, or I'm sorry, $13.3 million. So that leaves a local match of 1.5 that's being split between Louisville Metro and KYTC to actually implement that grant. So that's a $30 million grant that KIPDA has been awarded. So
Wow.
Greg, what has been on the news this past week on several of the channels. So it's kind of big, exciting news.
It is. I mentioned the TPC, I mentioned this just last hour about to them. What I think is really impressive, it's fantastic. It's gonna be a big fix. The amount of applications that were submitted for this grant, I looked it up while we were waiting over here. It's over like 2.4 billion. And so to be awarded, that just shows how competitive it was, right? And so to get chosen out of that group of projects, that's pretty impressive. And so it's
And
great.
what is, to me, it's a great partnership between KIPDA and Louisville Metro and KYTC, actually all of us working together. This is kind of one of the first ones that we've actually submitted on KIPDA being the applicant, where we have all these different agencies working together and submitted that application, and it was successful. So props to my team and your team and KYTC.
And state economic development, that's got the 13 million from that grant program has to be one of the biggest draws on that. And so, I don't know, for us, that seems like the perfect use for it. You know, what's going to generate economic and safety benefit in Kentucky other than the project in that part of our city here.
Are there houses on the inside of 64 that face the river in Portland?
Not too much. I don't know that there's any frontage that you can see it too well. One of the things they want to do is so a couple things. Improvements within the 22nd Street interchange itself, where there'd be make it a little bit better walkable, bikeable from Portland to the north side of the river there, or of 64 there.
There's a lot of industry over there, so actually people are actually walking from their house under the underpass to their place of employment.
The dilapidated pedestrian bridge, I believe they envision improving. And two of them, and then there's some more general ones that are gonna be just along the sides of that interstate. There's better looking interstates, let's be honest, than that area. And so just all the overgrowth and fence lines, they're gonna be spruced up just to make it a nicer, kinder, gentler looking place and more welcoming to go, you know, back and forth to the landing park over there just immediately.
So today there's nothing there other than a bunch of messes.
Yeah, it's not very pretty right now. That's
Pretty industrial.
Makes it look better.
Okay. Cool, I didn't know how you access that area, because I just drive across the top of it, so in 22nd Street.
It's not very friendly. And there's actually a Metro Park there too, that it's kind of hard to see the actual entrance to the park. So that's part of the plan as well, is to enhance that entrance so it can be utilized.
Yeah, as Waterfront Park Phase 4 moves from downtown to the west, as hopefully someday the Dana Railroad Bridge, which becomes a bike fed option for folks. This is gonna be right in that same area there, so it really could have a really bright future.
Yeah.
Y'all ever go down in there? Y'all go down there much? Huh?
Yeah.
You know?
You know, it's a fascinating place. I spent 13 years with local fire department in Portland, and you know, McAlpin, Lockheed Dam is all over there, and you can drive over there too.
And so they're gonna have an entrance to that as well.
There's no houses, no houses, but just there's some businesses. But in Lanham Park is there. Yeah, it's a really neat place.
Yeah,
Well,
sure
they
is.
were saying that, you know, from studies from the 80s, talking about the improvements that are needed and how segregated this neighborhood is. So it's, you know, 40 years later, we're finally getting funding. So we know some of these projects take a long time, but
Good.
eventually.
So that's like Felicia said, that's the low price of $1.5 million from the state DOT and from local government, a $30 million project. That's a big win, real big win.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions?
Thank you.
Next item we have here is number 14, but I understand we're gonna kind of skip that. There's
That
been
is
some
correct.
EPA stuff going on
We
there.
have been requested to put that on hold until then.
Put it on hold. And when the EPA speaks, we listen, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, all right. So we'll move on to item number 15.
All right, these are two projects for our area development fund. These are our last two counties. So Louisville Metro is asking for approval for an application for the lighting restoration and upgrade project. These funds will be used towards the overall repair and replacement of underpass lighting at various locations along the I-65 corridor. They are requesting their total amount of $27,778.58. And then Oldham County is seeking approval for an application for the high-speed internet installation to several Oldham County agencies. The funds will be used to install high-speed fiber optic to Oldham County government facilities. This total project cost is $17,000 and their ADF fund request is for $4,629. So action is requested on these two area development fund projects.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve these funds for these two ADF projects. So entertain a motion, please. We have a motion, Mr. Black.
Yes, sir.
Second?
Second.
And a second. Any other questions or any other discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harper. Next is the Regional Planning Council. Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll be very brief on this. Just have a quick recap on our Regional Planning Council meeting. Regional Planning Council met on Tuesday, January 14th from 11 a.m. to noon. For this council meeting, we did not have a guest speaker. We had a discussion about current planning related efforts and the KIPDA communities represented there. For KIPDA's part, staff went over recent small area studies in cities of Lebanon Junction and Milton. These small area studies can aid communities in winning grants for useful projects by highlighting assets that those communities may have. Mick Logsden in our transportation division also gave an update on some of the efforts that have been going on in transportation division. Andy already kind of touched on all of those, but their work in our jurisdiction on a safety action plan as part of the Safe Streets and Roads for All program. And Andy mentioned in those meetings as well. Additional KIPDA updates included topics related to FEMA grant funding, so flood mitigation, hazard mitigation, and building resilient infrastructure and communities funds. Land and water conservation funding, Department of Transportation funding award for reconnecting communities pilot program, Federal Railroad Administration grant program, and Rural Community Electric Vehicle Charging Project funding. Council members from our present counties spoke about updates to comprehensive plans and development projects, sewer capacity issues, economic development projects currently underway, and snow and ice removal capacity. Currently, there are 2 vacant positions on the Regional Planning Council. We have vacancies in Trimble County and Spencer County, and we're working to have this filled as soon as possible. The next Regional Planning Council meeting will take place as a hybrid virtual and in-person meeting on April 8th from 11 a.m. to noon. That will be here in KIPDA's office and via Zoom. This concludes my report, and if there are no questions, I would request action to accept it.
Are there any questions? If none, I entertain a motion to approve the Regional Planning Council's report.
Hold on.
Second. Okay. All of those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Next up is item number 17, the Regional Water Management Council. Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, board. The KIPDA Regional Water Management Council met here in the Burke Room and virtually via Zoom on January 14th as well, from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. We had Nick Roederer as our guest speaker. He came from the Kentucky Rural Financing Agency. Mr. Roederer provided the council with an overview of the Rural Water Financing Agency and their flex term program and their interim program. Their flex term program funds governmental type projects, for utilities, cities, counties, and special districts. And it offers access to flexible terms with no reserve fund requirement for the borrower. Their interim program offers competitive rates and terms through a standardized, consistent loan process. And the average cost on closeout loans for them is usually as low as 1.9%, 1.97%. The reason we really wanted Nick Roeder to present for that meeting was because the Cleaner Water Program and some of the programs that have helped a lot of priority projects for our systems the past few years is coming to an end. And the State Revolving Fund Loan Program, which our Community and Economic Development Division helps to apply for every year, is getting more competitive with each cycle. So this program that he spoke about really gives systems and cities and counties and governmental entities the ability to get quick access to funds without the some of the requirements that we usually have to go through with community development block grants or the state revolving fund loans. There's no Davis Bacon, American Iron Steel, BABA, which we all support, but it makes it a lot quicker to access those funds. It's usually a 60, 90 a day process when some of those other funding sources can take up to months or even years. We approved the 3 new wastewater projects in our meeting as well. There was one from Louisville MSDs. It was the Height Creek Sludge Screening Project. That was in the amount of $6,600,000. The city of Milton had a project that got approved. It was the Milton Wastewater Treatment Plant Elimination and Pumping to Carrollton project. That was for $7,732,000. That's a big project because currently their treatment plant is in a floodplain, so it would be viable for them to construct a new one there, and it would be pretty costly for them to build it up on the hill that's up there. So we're trying to maybe look at the option of pumping their effluent to Carrollton to be treated. And the city of Bedford wastewater had a project that got approved for their South Bedford Sewer Extension Project. That was in the amount of $2,590,000. So the council approved those 3 projects. I also provided my KIPDA Regional Water Management Coordinators report to the council. Just kind of consisted of an overview of all of our state revolving fund loan projects. We had 27 water and wastewater projects that were submitted this year for fiscal year 2026 funding consideration. We also spoke about Cleaner Water Program administration and preparing for projects for the construction phase. We have until the end of next year of 2026 to get those projects completed. So our division is going to make a huge effort to really try to get those projects in the construction phase in the upcoming months. Ryan Lloyd and myself will be conducting our yearly system visits with all of the KIPDA water and wastewater systems. We go around and collect all the data and asset inventory reports for them. That's going to be starting next month. It goes until the end of April. Ryan Lloyd is now also the new GIS specialist. He's going to be helping me out with all the mapping updates for all those system data reports. Lastly, we heard county updates from each system, and we held our election for new 2025 KIPDA Regional Water Management Council officers. Russ Rose with the Oldham County Water District. He's our chairman for life, it seems. He was elected again for our chairman for 2025. And Kevin Gibson, he used to be with the Oldham County Environmental Authority, now with Louisville MSD, was elected as our vice chairman. Our next KIPDA Regional Water Management Council will be held here on Tuesday, April 8th at 1:30 p.m. And this concludes my report. No action is requested.
Any questions? I entertain a motion then to accept the report from the Regional Water Management Council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Chairman.
Next is our legislative update from Mr. Raj. Did I say that right?
Stroggy.
Got it pretty good? Okay. Thank you.
All right, so the Kentucky General Assembly convened on Tuesday, January 7th for the first day of session. This is going to be a 30-day short session. After the first week, they take a break until February 4th, where they will reconvene for the 5th day of session. The first week, they introduced numerous bills. The bills of interest can be seen in your board packet on page 56. If you know of any bills that you specifically want us to track, please let me know. I'll add that to our tracker and provide updates as needed. During the first week of session, the primary movement of legislation was House Bill 1. That's the bill that would reduce the individual tax rate from 4% to 3.5%. This is a continued reduction from House Bill 8 from the 2022 session. That's now in the Senate awaiting action. Some of the other bills that are of interest to you all, there's House Bill 16, that's the bill that would make water fluoridation or make fluoride programs optional. House Bill 31, that relates to overweight allowances on state roads for hauling building materials for homes. House Bill 35, that would require the state to start reimbursing counties for housing state inmates beginning on the day that they were charged with a felony offense. Senate Bill 28, that would create an agricultural economic development fund. And Senate Bill 59, that would allow religious institutions to develop affordable housing without submission to review by planning unit, if that development was approved by a local government. As session goes on, I'll continually add bills to that tracker and provide you updates as needed.
House Bill 173.
Let me add that to it. That might be, is that on the tracker?
It is. Yeah. Page 62.
Yeah, let's see. I'll keep an eye on that one and I'll send you updates as that starts moving down. If that starts moving.
Looks like it's taking local government's ability to put ordinances in to watch over rental properties. If I read it correctly.
I don't have the bill text in front of me, but I'll pull that up and I can give you an update on that one. Is there any questions on the Kentucky side? Bill, do you want me to add?
You heard anything about the revenue cabinet, want to start collecting occupation taxes for cities and counties?
I have not, I don't know if you've heard anything. I haven't heard anything. I don't think I've seen any bills on that. I can go back through and specifically look. It does have a number. Let me write that down.
I don't have no phone in front of me, it was sent to me not too long ago.
You know, the League of Cities is, fighters. I don't know what the county's gonna do with it, but we don't want that to happen if we keep it from happening.
I'll keep an eye on it.
There's one in here, I know it's in here, you can find it on, ATVs or,
Yeah, that is on here.
and
That's
that's,
Senate Bill 63.
yeah, that's gonna be a mess.
I remember seeing that. I think I added it on here.
You do, it's on page
This
65.
last
You're gonna have
page.
four-wheelers all over your roads.
Yeah, yeah. And I do have the ability to create a link of the tracker and I could send that out to y'all and it would automatically update as I'm adding those throughout session. I can send that out to everybody if that would be beneficial. Yeah. Any others? All right, so the Indiana General Assembly convened on January 8th. For the first day of session, this is a 2-year budget session. That's gonna be the primary focus is crafting that 2-year budget. That's House Bill 1001. It's currently in House Ways and Means. The deadline for filing bills is passed. The deadline for bills to be heard in the Chamber of Origin is February 20th, and they must adjourn by April 29th. Just a couple bills that I noted was Senate Bill 4. That bill prohibits the construction, operation, purchase, sale, or lease of a long-haul water pipeline unless the Utility Regulatory Commission signs off on it. There was also House Bill 1005 that would appropriate $25 million from the state general fund to the Housing Infrastructure Assistance Loan Fund, which was established in years past and can go towards funding housing development and utilities there, or sidewalks, those types of things to support that housing development. That would be a loan. Anything else? Do you have any?
Road funding is big in Indiana this year. About every 7 years, we have end up with a lot of road funding monies that come up, and so that's gonna be a big reduction. Looks like there might be some reductions in road funding.
Okay. All right.
Have we got anything else? Thank you very much for your report. Okay, next item is item number 19, FMS MOU ratification. Tricia, you got that?
I do, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
So this is on page 66, item 19. We are asking for ratification of the executive director's signature on several memorandums of understanding that we have completed with the external case management agencies we are working with to bill Medicaid waiver services. I'm pretty excited because this is continuing to grow. One of these is a new agency that we added at the end of the year, and we have another one that we're working with that will hopefully get you all to approve next month. So these memorandums of understanding are from January 1st to June 30th of 2025. Look at this just kind of on our calendar year. There are, I believe, nine agencies listed here. So we're just asking for ratification. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Need a motion to approve the report? Have a motion? Motion to approve. Second? Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the ratification report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Next, we have the fiscal year social services business. Will you take care of that for us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So for here, we have two things that we're requesting approval for the executive director's signature. The first one is a subcontract amendment for our KIPDA program. We're requesting an amendment to the contract for Somali Community of Louisville to increase the budget $23,200, bringing it to a total of $191,656 to have connectors in the Jefferson County community. And the second one is a new subcontract award for our Title 3D program. This program, we don't have a lot of activity, so we're excited to be able to reach out to somebody new and bring the Active Choices program. Active Choices is an evidence-based health behavior change program that's conducted via the telephone to help get our older adults out and moving a little more. So that award would be for up to $40,000 for the time to get that finalized with the provider and get it started as soon as possible. So there's no questions. We're asking for approval for the executive director's signature on those two contracts.
Okay. I entertain a motion then for those two items listed under item number 20. Do I have a motion need a motion?
So moved.
A second? Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. This capstone mobile app update, are we gonna kind of skip over?
In the interest of time, I spoke with Beth. Beth will present that next month.
Okay, all right, we're gonna skip item 21, move right on to item number 22, which is the National Caregiver Program. Ms. Davis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. I'm Amanda Davis. I'm the coordinator of the National Family Caregiver Program, and I just wanted to give you an update on what's going on in the caregiver program. As you saw in the annual report, the caregiver program had over 500,000 contacts between us here in KIPDA and providers we contract with. That's an amazing number, and I only see that increasing as the population of caregivers increase. But some of the things that I do here at KIPDA to help our caregivers in the region, the most popular program that we do is the voucher program. We help caregivers purchase incontinence supplies through the voucher program. But we also get them connected to support groups, counseling, and legal aid services if they need those services as well. And something that we'll be doing soon on March the 28th, we will be hosting a dealing with dementia class at the St. Matthew's Library. We have a dementia care specialist from the Lexington area that will be coming to facilitate the class, and that will be on March the 28th. That's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Davis. Next up is item number 23, and this is the Veterans Directed Services Program credit card. Ms. Shaw, you have that?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Okay, in July 2021, we came to the board and we requested to apply and use a credit card through Fifth Third Bank for the caregiver program. And the card holder was Lynn Evans. She was our budgeting contracts administrative coordinator at that time. And the credit limit was $25,000. The request was approved, and now Social Services now has a MOA with, for the Veterans Directed Care. And they found that they need revenue in order to perform background checks for those veterans who opt to have an employee to assist them. So we want to keep the same, remain the same for the $25,000. We would like the credit card will be the finance and contract manager, the cardholder will be. And we are asking for ratification and requesting to allow the credit card to be used for the Veteran Direct program in addition to the caregivers program. We would also like to request that the board authorize the KIPDA executive director to approve any additional programs that we need to be added to this credit card and then to advise the board. Now, I don't know if these need to be separate or if they can be approved together.
We're gonna approve them together. Okay.
What exactly?
Question?
Jessica, why don't you speak? This is something we'll probably have in a future meeting, but the Veterans Directed Care is kind of like our waiver program, but it's working through the VA to provide those services to veterans.
It is, yes. So, veterans, we get these referrals from a hub and spoke model. So, there's the VA center here in Louisville. They refer to the hub, which is the Penny Rowell Area Development District, and then we're a spoke. So we get referrals for veterans who either have used their caregiver program and they need additional services, or they've been unable to use the caregiver program and they want to hire their own employees. It is identical nearly to our waiver program. They self-direct their services, they find their own employees. We build and guide the plans with them, person-centered. And one of those things, like Ms. Shaw said, is background checks. So they're working on ways to get reimbursement for that, but we do have to occasionally. So
Jessica, how much is a background check?
$27.50.
Yeah.
So see, it's a minimal amount, but just getting that approval allows us to get the process started.
Can't imagine that there's not background checks on veterans for benefits somewhere in the fold.
It's for their employees.
It's for the employee. So it's not, for the we don't background check the veteran. It's for the representative that they choose and the employees.
The veteran receives the services and then they hire, have a representative or the employee to provide those services. So the background check is for that employee that's providing the services to the veteran.
Yeah, I got big.
So who actually, is there a credit card that someone has in their possession?
Yes,
So
sir.
who actually uses that?
That credit card currently across the agency, we have what Cheryl has access to it, Frida has access to it, and I have a credit card, and we would have the additional for Tricia to do the background checks and also for the caregiver program. We were running into issues with the caregiver program to try to order in this kind of expedited that because when we were buying those supplies, just a dedicated credit card for those programs. But we want to put those safeguards in place where it can just be used widespread. It is restricted in what the uses can be.
How much can any one credit card charge be put on the credit card at any given time? How much?
Is there a limit for a single charge? I know we have that's the $25,000.
I thought you said $25,000.
No,
Well-
the $25,000 is the credit limit.
Limit, okay, I
It's
thought
for
you
the
said
limit,
anyone
not for-
charge.
Not
Anybody
for
going up
each charge,
$25,000.
No, it's not for charge, just the credit limit, that's
We
all.
want you to know possibly what how much can be charged per time, or how's that checked? I mean,
I don't even know who uses the card, but I'm assuming they're gonna use it rightfully, properly, so that's cool. I just thought I'd heard her say that you could run up to, you could charge up to 25,000 any given time. I didn't know.
He wanted to mess with me.
yeah,
I can assure you, we have a number of safeguards in place for these cards, so it's not somebody willy-nilly being out spending, it's gonna be very restrictive.
Does Ms. Shaw look at the actual charges that have been placed on a credit card?
And we do too.
Yes,
We
sir.
look at them and review each statement, each bill, for our caregiver program and any other charges as well.
I'll make a
One by one.
motion to
approved.
get you a credit card. Another one
No,
through Fifth Third
we
Bank.
can use the same credit card. We just want to add it to the one that we're already using for the caregiver program.
Okay, make that the motion.
Have a motion from Mr. Black, have a second? I sure wasn't gonna try to explain all that, I promise you. So,
I'll second.
second. Any other questions?
Just want to say while I'm standing here, the Veterans Directory Program started out slow, but it is growing and we're looking forward to serving many more veterans in the community. And I will be presenting to you all very soon on the program as well.
That program, when I became director, my predecessor, Jack Couch, it was one that he and, Jessica's
7
predecessor,
years.
Barbara, had been working for years with the VA trying to get started, so we are very excited to finally be offering this service. It's something a long time.
I saw
coming.
2 of them today, actually, just.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got a veteran in my community that I've taken him to multi-purpose myself to try to get him some assistance. At any moment, he's gonna be outdoors. And for 2 months, I can't get anywhere.
Please speak to me after this.
All right.
Judge Singh, I mean, I know that you're representative of Madison District, right? But I would highly encourage you to reach out to my colleague Stacy, who gets here quite often, or other representatives from the senator's office. That's, we have specialized case workers.
We do.
And I've been able to build some decent relationships with several people in the VA, so, yeah, let's see what's happening there.
Thank you very much. Well, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Shaw. All right. Next item is our January personnel report. Ms. Agnew.
Thank you. Agenda item 24, January personnel report, page 68, Rachel. Real quickly, new hires. Carmine DePaulo was hired as a service advisor in our waiver program on December 10th. Emma Bomba was hired as our support staff coordinator the next day on December 11th, and Emma is here with us. We haven't had a supervisor for our support staff team in social services other than Jessica, and maybe ever, I'm not sure, at least in a long time. So we were so fortunate to get Emma from Junior Achievement to come over and supervise our support staff. So we're thrilled to have her. Thank you, Emma. Vacancies, we have a service advisor vacancy, 1 nutrition assessor. Hopefully we're hiring for that tomorrow though, interview. We need a registered nurse, PRN, and occupational therapist. Hopefully we will hire for those as well tomorrow, or we will hire for that one as well tomorrow. So hopefully after tomorrow, we'll only have 2 vacancies. As always, job postings can be found on our website, and our staff count is 80 full-time permanent, 4 part-time permanent, and 3 part-time temporary. And action is requested.
We need a motion to accept the personnel report. Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
And a second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Agnew.
Thank you.
All right, our intergovernmental reviews. We have those listed there. Do they all?
All 3 can be taken together. They've been submitted for local comment and they are ready for approval.
As you can see there, we have the 3 Oldham County, Kentucky, State Storm Water Project, Jefferson County, Kentucky, Hyde Creek, sludge screen, which we heard about earlier, and the Shelby County. Need a motion then to approve all those intergovernmental reviews.
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second? Yes, we do. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carried. Thank you very much. Executive Director's Report.
I do want to recognize Judge Ison. He came in after the roll call, so thank you for being here today, Judge. We're also joined by a couple of representatives from our congressional delegation. James Vickery with Congressman Guthrie, and on the screen we have Kylie Boucher, also Congressman Guthrie. James, is there anything you would like to share?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Director, thank you guys so much for having me again today. So since I saw you guys last, I'm happy to report that Kylie and I's boss, Congressman Brett Guthrie, became Chairman Brett Guthrie as he was elected by his peers as the chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee in the United States House of Representatives. So over the next coming months, as you're hearing a lot of news coming out about the reconciliation budget as it pertains to energy, a lot of that work to be done between the congressman and President Trump and Senator Ted Cruz. They're kind of the triumvirate that's working on that policy. So as that affects the local municipalities on such a significant level, the cost of energy, please don't hesitate to reach out to our office to let us know what your input may be. And as you're hearing things, if you feel like there might be some second or third order effects that should be taken into consideration, we'd very much appreciate your input. So with that, thank you. Nothing more to report.
Thank you.
James.
I've got something to lay on him. I know we talked about it back before Christmas, but if we could get diesel fuel down to $2, that'd be great. Or if you can't do that, at least get it to max gasoline.
I actually did a write-up and sent that to our legislative team after I talked to you about it. Cause I was really interested by talking about, like what I was just saying with the second, third order impacts. When you kind of explained to me what that could mean with, especially with trash delivery and things like that.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
We have a fuel surcharge that's probably 20%. And I mean, we negotiated in our contract that would go away if fuel got below a certain level. That's one reason we're after it, but just the whole society of inflation, trucking is a lot of it, and diesel fuel, there's no reason for it to be $3.50 when gas is $2.50.
Right. So, like I said, I pushed that because it was really interesting. And Kylie promised me that she would make it.
Yeah.
So I think she's on mute.
Thanks, James.
But I thank you all for that. It's all in fun, but it ain't needed. Y'all fix that diesel problem.
All right, thank you.
James is actually leading that.
Okay.
The only other thing I'll add briefly, and spring break is coming up. I'm tired of this cold weather. I'm sure you all are as well. We've started getting Capitol and White House tour requests. Just wanted you all to have a heads up that White House is not scheduling tours for the month of January or February, but they do require a long heads up if you want any chance of a White House tour. So as you all are talking to constituents, if anyone is interested in these tours, make sure you connect them with your congressional offices as soon as possible so we can get them on those lists.
Thank you, Kylie. Also on the screen from Congressman McGarvey's office, we have Nicole Seta. Nicole, is there anything you would like to share?
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for letting me join in. Nothing really outstanding to share, echoing what Kylie had to say about, any tour requests or anything that is the same for our office. Congressman McGarvey was recently named to be a member of the Budget Committee this Congress. So we are excited for that. And if there are any requests in that vein, feel free to reach out to our office.
Thank you, Nicole. I want to thank our board members. We had sent out an email requesting recommendations to join our advisory council for our Division of Social Services. They help drive our services to our older adults. We were wanting to get good representation, especially out in our rural communities, and we have received good feedback, and they will be joining us at our next advisory council meeting. So thank you all for soliciting that support. That's much appreciated. If you all look in the front sleeve of your folder, you will see this flyer for Ad Day. On February 13th, the Kentucky Council of Area Development Districts will be holding their first quarterly board meeting of the year at the Capitol. And then immediately following that, we will have our legislative luncheon. As a reminder, the Kentucky Council is our statewide board that oversees the 15 area development districts. From KIPDA, we are served on that by Judge Ison and Judge Summers. But everybody is welcome to come to the meeting that day. We're usually joined by House leadership and Senate leadership, in addition to inviting all our legislators to the luncheon. So I wanted to be sure everybody received that invitation. And for the people on the screen, we'll send out this flyer after the meeting, so you all have it as well. And
The luncheon will be held at,
it'll be in the cafeteria immediately following the board meeting. So as soon as the board meeting ends, we'll all kind of migrate down to the cafeteria. We do have one travel item for consideration. It is the 2025 NATO Washington Policy Conference in DC, and it also has the NATO board meeting where I serve on the board. It would be from March 9th to March 11th, and the two staff members attending, Felicia Harper and myself. So open that up for board action if you all would approve.
Your motion, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. And then finally, just next month's meeting, we have the Transportation Technical Coordinating Committee on February 12th at 1 o'clock here in the KIPDA Burke Room and by Zoom. And then our regular meetings next month will be February 27th with the Transportation Policy Committee at 12:30 here in the Burke Room and on Zoom. And then the Regional Transportation Council will meet at 1 o'clock in our adjoining conference room A and also by Zoom. And then the February board meeting will be at 2 o'clock that afternoon. That concludes my report. Thank you all for coming out today.
Questions?
On bank resolutions, we passed over that right or wrong on our agenda or not? We passed over that, we stopped at this personnel report, and then we skipped over a lot of things, right or wrong?
We did the personnel report and then we did the intergovernmental review.
Yeah, but what, if the staff longevity report, that wasn't supposed to be part of the stuff today, no?
That would, the longevity report and the bank resolution was from last month's meeting, or not last month.
It's in this packet though, right?
In the minutes from November.
It's in the November minutes.
Now, I'm looking on page 30.
That's the minutes.
Yes, sir, that's
Is that part of the minutes?
Yes, sir, that's the minute.
Oh, okay. I was just looking on the bank resolutions, talking about the executive committee has been established for 2025. And Judge Ison, who's my buddy, someone said, Ms. Shaw said she requested that Dunn Ison be removed. What did he do, act up or something, or what happened?
No.
Did he misbehave? I thought maybe he resigned or something like that.
Oh, he served.
It's like he was removed.
He served his 4 years
Okay.
very successfully on our executive.
I just didn't want my buddy to get thrown out, you know, at his his will.
No, never happened.
Right.
All right. Just bringing that up.
I'll vote for your resolutions in the future. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Black?
No, sir.
Okay, I don't want us to miss anything.
You won't.
He won't
That's
let
all I can think of. Right?
Okay, all right, thank you. I don't see it. We don't have any other business. Anybody else have anything else they wish to comment on? No, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
A motion, second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. We are officially adjourned. I appreciate y'all's time today, a little bit lengthy, and we made it. Y'all have a safe trip home.
John called and told me at 1:30 you were getting on the.